After Tucson, there were moments of silence. Tears on the House floor.
Our hearts are broken, but our spirit is not.
And a bipartisan call for civility, which led to the symbolic gesture of Democrats and Republicans sitting together at the president's State of the Union address.
We want to change the tone and show the public that we can work together.
And it was civil.
What comes of this moment is up to us. What comes of this moment will be determined not by whether we can sit together tonight, but whether we can work together tomorrow. And I believe we must. That's what the people who sent us here expect of us.
A month later, though, there are skeptics.
The tone has been changed as a result of Tucson, at least temporarily, and we don't know how long that will last.
The parties have become more ideological. Remember, there used to be liberal Republicans and there were conservative Democrats from the South. Now the Republican Party is ideologically uniformly conservative, and the Democratic Party is almost uniformly liberal. And when you have that ideological difference, they're going to clash more than they did in the past.
The president promised more cooperation with Republicans. And while they have been meeting together,
We had a very nice lunch with the president and vice president.
the differences are obvious.
I guess the particulars and the details will be where the disagreements may lie.
Remember the battle over health care? Well, it's not over. And the debate over cutting spending, that's not going to be easy either.
The political industry, which is now a real industry in a way that it wasn't 20 years ago, is geared only for combat. It is not geared for compromise, cooperation, or anything else.
Don't tell that to these two congressmen who recently joined me on the Brody File.
We shouldn't buy the world's idea that prayer is the last resort. Well, I guess all we can do is pray about it, but it should be the first resort.
Democrat Mike McIntyre and Republican Randy Forbes lead the Congressional Prayer Caucus. That's helped them develop a close friendship despite their political differences.
Mike and I may disagree on issues, but you would never find a situation where I would say anything bad about Mike, or I don't think him say anything bad about me.
They say prayer could be what other members of Congress need to share in order to come together.
A lot of times someone will engage me and they can talk for 45 minutes. They're so fired up or upset or passionate about an idea, and then I'll say, well, would you take 5 minutes to pray about it? And I've never had anybody say no, they wouldn't. Usually they kind of pause a minute like, really? And I say, yeah, I mean, do you know there is a prayer caucus and that we do seek wisdom? And obviously if you're that passionate about helping your country or wanting us to make the right decisions about things, will you join us in prayer about it?
The prayer caucus comes together here on Capitol Hill before votes each week, and it's growing. It's standing room only in there, both Republicans and Democrats. Now, prayer may not be the first thing that all of these members of Congress think about, but it's clear that they're doing something right, and it could lead to a model for others in this quest for civility. Mark DeMoss, an influential figure within evangelical circles, says Christians play a vital role.
I think as people that identify ourselves as followers of Christ, we have even a greater responsibility to behave a certain way.
What is the role of Christians that are listening to a conversation like this? Because the vitriol, honestly, also does come from some conservative, moderate Christians.
You may disagree with them philosophically on an issue, but please remember that God also created them. And you ultimately hope that their heart and mind, will come to a realization that in their faith they can deal with this issue. And whether they come to the same conclusion or not, that's ultimately up to them.
You can sometimes disagree with someone without really vilifying that person. And we're not perfect in that. I mean, right. Mike takes a lot of hits from his party. I take hits from my party because of our relationship. But yet we think it's so important that we do that for Congress and hopefully changing that tone, but also for the country.
There you have it, civility in progress, and something for the White House and congressional leadership to think about. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.